All right, we are back live at Karonda's Sports Bar and Grill here, 2036 Rankin Mill Road in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we are being joined live by Coach Jason Lippard. Welcome, Coach Lippard.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kris.
All right, well, congratulations, Coach. I know that when you started out the season, one of the things that you wanted, you didn't care about wins and losses. Your main goal was to get the team to the playoffs, and you did it.
Yeah, that was our only preseason goal. We didn't talk wins and losses. We didn't talk non-conference, conference. Our only preseason goal was make the playoffs, and we've done that. Ups and downs along the way, but we're here. So, we are excited about that.
Well, a couple of the things, you lost your quarterback 2 weeks ago, the second to the last game of the season against Western Alamance. G. Simpson broke his ankle, had to have surgery on it, and so your last two games were kind of brutal for you. You had Western Alamance, Eastern Alamance, and just trying to make things work. What's your plans for you get West Craven? We get to go down to Vanceboro, North Carolina. How excited are you about that?
Well, talking about the last 2 weeks, we that was unfortunate because I've told everybody, it's like losing three guys in one. He was our punter, he was a safety, he was a quarterback, and he's very good at all three. He's one of the best players in our conference, I believe, and so losing him was a big deal. And we've struggled the last 2 weeks simply just getting a snap. So we've tried to do some creative stuff here in the open week, if you will. Open, I guess, is what you call it, the open week here before the playoffs start. And we've got some wrinkles and stuff to try to help ourselves not fumble snaps and get our players the football and that sort of stuff. But West Craven, the brackets came out, the preliminary. We were excited. We were really excited.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, because
the preliminary came out, and we were driving the day, and it showed us playing Eastern Wayne, who's 4-6, just like we are. Thanks to some forfeit wins by CB Aycock, where they were the number one.
Do you know
seed.
what the deal is with that with CB Aycock? Why they had to forfeit those
ineligible
games?
players?
Okay, and
they had ineligible players.
That's been one of those things in Guilford County. We have seen them get snake bit by that same thing happening.
Yeah, and they appealed. They appealed twice this week, and both were null and void. So they had to forfeit all their wins. Well, that gave Eastern Wayne another win. Also gave Eastern Wayne the number one seed from the 3A, 4A split conference they were in, and that's why Eastern Wayne pulled a 2 seed, because they have to be seeded as a conference champion. So we got that bracket this morning. We were excited, and that's no slight to anyone other than we felt like that was a pretty good matchup for us. Matter of fact, in the preliminary, we looked at every team in our conference, and we were going to play a team that had the fewest wins of anybody in our conference. And we're like, hey, this might be pretty good for us. And so it changed. Apparently, I called Q Tucker down at the state and got an explanation why they reseeded. She didn't use names of schools, but apparently they had a school in the preliminary that made the playoffs that was actually behind the school that just didn't make the playoffs. So they had to go back and put the school that didn't make it in, pull them out. And when that happened, it shifted. And when it shifted east and west. And that took McMichael back to the west. McMichael being in our side kind of helped us, because that alleviated us having to be an 8 seed.
Right.
That made us a 7 seed. So when they left us, we then became the 8 seed again. And, it shook out. And in the long run, we've told our kids all week, this week in the open week, there's 32 teams left.
Right. You got to go out there and win.
It's a 1 in 32 shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom line is, if you're gonna get where you want to go, you've got to beat some pretty good teams anyway. So it doesn't matter what order you have to play them in. You're going to have to beat good teams anyway. So you might as well saddle up and understand that you're going to have to beat some pretty good teams. And that's what we got. So the Redruit, we got West Craven. They're a pretty good team. They actually remind me a whole lot of Eastern Guilford from what I've seen thus far. And they're good on defense. I think they got some really good playmakers on defense. Solid. And then on offense, they got a couple guys that are going to move around and get in specific places to try to get them the football. But, all in all, we're excited to be here, and we don't want to just make it now. We've told our kids all week we don't want to just be here. We're not a doormat. We want to go here and try to make some noise, and we feel like we come from one of the toughest conferences in the state.
You do.
And so we're going to go in, and we're going to take that approach that we've played. We're battle-tested.
Well,
and I'm not saying that they're not, but we're battle-tested.
If you look at your conference with the 8 teams in your conference, and 7 of the 8 teams got in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
that's
got 9.
pretty,
We got 9.
9 teams. So,
But
so
7 of the 9. But I don't
yeah.
think there's another conference in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah,
That got
so
7 out of 9.
Moorhead and Rockingham County are the only two that didn't get in.
Correct.
Yeah. And, there was some questions about McMichael with only those 3 wins, but, if they're in, at least you knew you were in because you beat McMichael. So it's kind of fine with them being in.
The message we kind of got over and over as we saw projections and we were asking around and kind of asking the higher-ups, if you will, the message was clear. Anybody with 4 wins is going to get in, especially if you have 4 conference wins, and that's what we have. And, we're excited about that. We're 500 in a conference. It's very tough. And we felt like we might have should have been 5-3 right there. And so we're not
Guilford.
Yeah, Northern Guilford. We felt like was tough, and hats off to them. We're not slighting them at all, but we felt like we should have probably got that one and been 5-3, but we didn't. And the fact is, we're 4-4, and we've got a tough week coming up, and we're going to go down there and try to grab the bull by the horns, if you will.
Well, and West Craven,
Coach, what do you do now to prepare for this game, losing Gerald Simpson, and you guys have really that takes a hit. You said like losing 3 players in 1. What do you do now?
Well, like everybody in the state, we're beat up. He's not the only one. We're missing a corner, Desmond Overton, who's missed the last 3 ball games. He hadn't played since Northern Guilford, and he's number 2 or 3 in the state in interceptions.
Right, he is.
So we it's not just G's out, but Dez has been out, and consequently Dez is one of our backup quarterback guys. So now we're going to the well again. We just got to get our guys to understand that it's adversity. It's kind of like life. We talk about life all the time, and getting our kids to understand you can't tuck your tail and run from adversity. And that's kind of what they did a little bit. We struggled getting snaps and stuff, and it just snowballed on them a little bit in the last 2 ball games. But we've got a plan. And like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the mouth.
That's right.
We've got a plan, and we think our plan's sound. We think our plan's much different than the last 2 weeks, and we're going to go into it with that attitude. And, we're going to get the ball in our best players' hands as many times as we can get it in their hands. And if we lose that, then we lose that with our best guys. And
does that mean that you go to the ground now?
I don't want to talk a whole lot about it, but
right.
we have. No doubt about it. Tobias Floyd's had a great year, and he's one of our playmakers. Noah Priester's had a great year. He's one of our playmakers. Dez, Overton, when he comes back, is one of our playmakers.
And he's going to come back at 100%.
He'll be back. I think he'll be back at 100% with play. And Tyreek has struggled a little bit at quarterback, but he's still a guy we got to get the football to. So we've got some guys. It's not like the cupboard's bare and we don't have any guys. We've got some guys. We just got to give them the ball, and we can't beat ourselves. We can't have bad snaps. We can't give the other team, starting field position inside of 10. We can't have bad punt snaps. All of that type of stuff we've got to eliminate. So we've got a plan to slow that thing down a little bit, and we're going to take the approach. We're going to try to shorten the ball game some. Shorten the ball game and try to play a little keep away.
Well, so looking at your bracket, Coach, Wes Craven, and then we're going to have Coach John Kirby from Eastern Alamance on a little later.
What a tremendous dude he is.
Oh, wow, and just a great guy. You can't say
I don't know that I've ever met another dude who had such the mentor-esque role that he does, but he's a phenomenal dude, and I respect him. The utmost respect for him because he's a phenomenal person and he's a good football coach.
Well, if you can manage to get by Wes Craven and Eastern Alamance can manage to get by Nash Central, you guys be able to meet each other again in a couple weeks.
Well, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job over there too. They lost the world when John Lamont left. They lost, I think, 2-time. I know he was Player of the Year last year, but I think he was 2-time Player of the Year. And what a tremendous athlete he was. But they picked up, and they moved forward. And they had some struggles in the off season, and they've moved forward, and they're doing a good job. They're doing a really good job.
Well, so if you look at the rest of that bracket, West Craven's the 1 seed. Northeast Guilford is in the playoffs at the 8 seed, and then Nash Central is the 5. Eastern Alamance is the 4, and then you got Havelock as the 3 seed in the East, and they're going to be playing Burlington Williams, which you know a little bit about. They've got them here on my piece of paper as 5-5, but they are actually, or 6-5. They actually should be recorded as 5-5 because they had no out-of-conference losses. All of their losses came in conference.
Correct. And this is all the stuff they have listed as 11-game schedule.
Right.
Really and truly, when they seed purposes, it's a 10-game schedule. And, Havelock's an interesting story. They had a great run. They're still in a great run. They lost to West Craven in a game that's kind of crazy. They played half of it, and they had to come back after the hurricane and play the other half of it, and they ended up getting beat 28-21. But I'll tell you what's interesting about Havelock is they played – in the first round last year, they played Eastern Guilford from our conference. Second round last year, they played Moorhead from our conference. And they struggled with both of them. They beat Eastern Guilford like 20-7. And then the next week, Moorhead beat them.
Right.
And that's coming off a year when just the year before, Moorhead went down there and got beat like 56-3. And then the year later, they beat them. And that shows growth in Moorhead, but it also shows that our conference is stout. Havelock's been in a state championship game 3 or 4 years in a row. And they struggle with our conference team. So I don't want to say that Williams is going to go down there and lay an egg. I think they can go down there and compete.
And they've had one of the toughest defenses I've seen. They've got some guys that are for real on that defense.
And I'll be honest with you, and their coach told you the same thing. They haven't been the same since we beat them 34-33. They've kind of wavered a little bit, and hopefully with this open week last week and week coming up in preparation, they're going to get it all back together and go back and play sound defense like they were prior to this. But I think they'll go down there and at least battle. I don't think it'll be a walkthrough. Havelock's good now. They're really good. But
and anytime you got to go down to Havelock and play, it's tough.
That's right.
It's tough. Looking at the rest of that Eastern bracket in the 3A bracket, Southern Guilford, Coach Earl Bates, what a fantastic job he's done down there. He's going to be with us around the 7 o'clock hour talking to Coach Bates. And they are going to get a home game against West Carteret. West Carteret just played West Craven last night, and West Craven pretty much banged the doors off of them.
They did, but I tell you what, at halftime it was 28-21.
Yeah.
And West Carteret was only down by 7 and that kind of deal. But Coach Bates is a phenomenal football coach. The job he did at Moorhead is unbelievable. The job he's done at Southern Guilford is unbelievable. And I think he's going to continue to do a great job. He's going to pick up the pieces right where Coach left him, and he's gonna continue to take that program on. And I can't say enough good things about Earl. He does a really good job. I think he's one of the best football coaches in the area.
I agree with you.
As a coach, Coach Lippard, does the off week, like if you're on a roll like Southern Guilford has been, does 3 weeks off hurt you?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes, I mean, and I think Earl will tell you that when he gets here.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't discussed that with him, but I think anybody that's hot, they were really hot and they're playing really good, and then have to sit on the shelf for 2 to 3 weeks, that doesn't help you any. That develops rust, all kinds of things of that nature. I think that they would all tell you they'd rather just keep playing.
And then for that first 2 weeks, you don't know who you're going to be playing against.
Right, so it's hard to game plan. You're working on fundamentals and those type things, and that's all really tough. But I think that all of those guys who are in that same boat, Williams in the same boat, I think they'll all tell you that, they'd rather just keep playing. And sitting on the shelf doesn't help them this time of year.
Right.
Well,
they're probably looking back. They'd probably rather have that open date week 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think where you guys had your open dates pretty good. That week 5 or 6, gives you a chance to kind of regroup.
Yeah.
Get everybody healthy. Looking at the bottom side of that bracket, Coach, High Brighton, they're going to be playing McMichael. They're the 1 seed in the West. I don't know anything about that team. What do you know about High Brighton?
They're good. They usually have pretty good team speed, especially for a team out of the West. They'll have pretty good team speed, and they'll be really physical. I remember watching them play West Rowan a couple years ago in the 3rd round, and they gave West Rowan a fit early and all the way through the 3rd quarter, and then West Rowan kind of sealed the deal to win by about 10 in the 4th quarter. But I know that they do a great job up there. They've done a great job for a while now, for probably 8 years or so, and they'll be good.
And McMichael's battle tested too. I mean, they.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, McMichael's peaking at the right time. They went over there and played Western Alamance last game of the year, and it was like a 10, 14-point game in the 4th quarter, and they had the ball. So
well, and they took Northern Guilford to overtime.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Looking
really blew a 28 to 14 point lead or a 21 to 14 point lead there.
Right. Then, of course, you got 3 seed in the West, Crest. The perennial Crest. Are they?
They're not what they have been.
Okay.
They're good. They're always going to be good, but they're not what they have been. I think I would be shocked to see them play in the state championship game, but they are good. They're always going to be good. They've always got athletes, but they're not what they have been.
Well, look, and just keep going down that bracket. West Rowan, they're back again.
I'll tell you 2 teams in that side of the bottom right there that really I would say watch out for, and that would be West Rowan and Tuscola.
Yeah.
West Rowan is long time been in this situation. They've been playing late into November for a long time, and that's what they're used to. They've had a couple years off, but also Tuscola. Tommy knows what it's like to be there. Tommy's done a fantastic job. They lost a nail biter to Pisgah for the conference championship, where they'd be a 1 seed right here or a 2 seed.
And we'll talk to Tommy a little bit about that later.
And I'm
going
to tell you right now, he can't wait to probably get back to that ball game. He's got those guys ready to play, and they'll be a team to watch out for out of the West.
Now the only way they can play is in the 3rd round.
Yep. I wouldn't be shocked a bit to see them there.
And what would the gate be at that game?
Fantastic.
There was almost 20,000 fans there the last time they met. So, Coach Lippard, we're going to keep you right here in the seat. We're going to bring in Martin Samick from Parkland High School, and
what a great dude he is.
And, yeah, he is, and so
he's a live wire now.
We're gonna talk to.
You got
Coach
a sensor on this thing?
Yeah, right. Make sure I can. We can always go back and bleep it out later on. So. We're going to pause a brief moment for our sponsors, and then we're going to be back with Coach Samick. Once again, you're listening to the Greensboro Sports Radio Football and Focus Playoff Bracket Special, and we are here live at Karonda Sports Bar, 2036 Rankin Mill Road in Greensboro. And thank you guys for joining us. And we will be back right after this break with Coach Samick from Parkland High School.